Well, good evening, everyone. Actually, it's probably morning by the time you see this. But I'm just sitting here picking around on my M-21. This is made by Martin. This is a great little guitar. I have a LR Baggs HiFi pickup in this thing, and it sounds so nice. It's very natural. Yeah, you have to check into it. It's something that they've come out with just in the last few months. I think it's been like a year and a half now. And it's actually two sensors that sit underneath the bridge plate. I don't think they're like a microphone, I guess, but they're not exactly microphones. So I don't know how the technology works, but I have to say it works. It just sounds so nice. And it has the controls under here, so I can turn it up. I'll turn it up a little bit more. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to turn it back down. There we go. And today I thought we'd talk about muting the strings. You know what I'm talking about, muting the strings? You know when I'm playing? That sound, kind of a dry, boxy sound. It's because I've muted the string to get that. Okay, so I want to talk to you about that technique. But before we can get into that technique, I think I have to talk to you a little bit about the use of your thumb. Because you can't do it without this thumb learning its job. It needs to know what it's supposed to be doing. And when you're picking the guitar, there's different styles, but what I learned to do was to dedicate the thumb to strings 6, 5, and 4, and dedicate your pointer finger, your middle finger, and your ring finger to strings 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so what happens is the thumb is doing those first 3 strings and the fingers pick up the others. I learned from one of those Melba books. We didn't have YouTube. I took some lessons as well. And probably was good because to get through those Melba books, you really needed to have somebody you met with every single week to say, what did you do? Did you practice? It kind of chased you around like a mad dog to know you had to go back the next week. So you made sure you practiced it. And so I stayed with those lessons long enough to get and to teach my thumb and my fingers to do their job and to know the strings they're supposed to be dedicated to. Okay, so if you can train your fingers, now you might not know that particular scale, but even if you just started with just the key, doing the chord G and making your thumb take care of those strings, it would help a lot. Okay? So that's something that you can practice right away. Now, muting the strings though, what is that? What do you do with that? Well, if this thumb knows that when it plucks these strings to stay there, you can take the palm of your hand, and while your thumb is doing their job, you can kind of just lightly touch the tops of the strings. And what I do is I just stay just above the bridge. But you can move up with that. But I usually am down here with it. I'm not sure why. It's just the way I learned, I guess. And it's comfortable because of where my arm is at. And maybe with this guitar, because it is a little bit of a wider guitar. But you'll see where my thumb, my hand's resting. It's not down here. I mean, you could do down here, but generally I'm just doing the bass notes. There's that thud. Now let's hear that without doing the muting. Doesn't sound the same, does it? Okay, so you mute it. And depending on how much pressure I put on the string, depends on how dry that sound gets. Okay, so if you can go lightly, it'll bring out a little bit more sound. If you press down, it becomes more dry. I guess that's the only way I can call it, or you get less sound, okay? So muting the strings means you're taking the heel of your hand and just barely touching the tops of those strings. And in my case, I'm staying just above the bridge. Hear that? I'm getting that bass with that dry sound. Now you notice those strings are ringing out because I'm not muting them. I'm just muting. Probably the first three is all this is hitting pretty much, but I can adjust by rolling my hand up just a little bit. See how I roll it up? And when I do that, I can give a little more sound to string 4, okay? And the 5, 6, and 5 are being muted the most. So it depends on how much you press down and where you're rolling your heel of your hand at. You're adjusting it. It's something you have to just get used to. Do I think about it when I'm playing? I don't think so. No, I don't think about it. I'm listening to the sound and I'm making adjustments, but it kind of becomes like driving, you know? You don't think about, when the light turns red, you're going to stop. I mean, your brain is doing that work, but it becomes a part of you. You see it and you do it. I hope you do it. Although they say that your brain can hiccup and you can get on the other side of that stop sign or on the other side of that red light and not even know why you did that. And that's not necessarily old age either. It can happen to anybody because the brain is, because we're human. Anyways, we're not going to get into that. Okay, so just mute that. It's a great sound. Okay, so that's muting the strings. So what are you going to do? What's your homework? Okay, so first thing I want you to do is, if you're not used to this thumb being dedicated to 6, 5, and 4, you need to start working on that. Pick a chord and get used to it. And even just going, alternating back and forth, play the G and alternate. I'm going 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 4, 6, 5. See that? And get used to it. You're not going to think like, once you get used to it, it just becomes part of you. Now I'm picking up, my fingers are picking up strings 1 and 2. But my thumb is taking care of its job with 6 and 4. And I'm also getting this muted down here. So if you're not used to it, it sounds like a lot. But if you'll just start with getting that thumb, doing that job, and then start practicing this. And then as you're playing, make a C chord and go back and forth here. But, you know, find different things that you can play, but practice putting in that mute. Okay? All right. So I think I'm going to leave it right there. I'm just giving you a bite size. I'm not giving you the whole apple. You can't shove the whole thing in your mouth at once to eat it. You just have to take a bite at a time. All right. Well, hopefully that's useful to you. And I want to remind everyone, if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so, I'd really appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 5,000, and we're getting there. I actually got a few more this last couple of days, and I think I have like 198 left. I'll be at 5,000, and when I do that, my next step will be to get a logo, and I'm thinking about making some printables, maybe some t-shirts or something. I don't know. We'll see. But I've kind of set goals for myself first before I get into it. I want to make sure that the channel is actually going to last and keep going and growing. And so the next thing also is we're going to have a live coming up the last week of August, and it'll be a Tuesday at 6 p.m. I have not put the announcement out yet. I'm going to do it in the next couple of days. You'll see it come out. But when I say 6 p.m. Tuesday, last week, I'm talking California time. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to leave it right there. And I'm just going to say thank you for listening in. And I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in this world.